When life breaks you, it doesn't send you a warning. It doesn't knock politely on your door. It doesn't give you a schedule to prepare. It comes crashing in, ripping apart the walls you built, tearing down the plans you made, and scattering the pieces of who you thought you were. Life has a way of taking you through storms you didn't ask for, valleys you didn't choose, and battles you didn't plan to fight. Sometimes it's not the enemies that break you. Sometimes it's betrayal from the people you loved the most. Sometimes it's not the strangers that wound you. It's the ones you fed, the ones you trusted, the ones you poured yourself into. And when life breaks you, it breaks you in silence. It breaks you in the midnight hours when nobody sees your tears, when nobody hears your cries, when nobody knows you're holding on by a thread. But hear me, being broken doesn't mean you're finished. Being broken doesn't mean you're worthless. Brokenness is the place where the real work begins, because sometimes God will let life break you, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you. Sometimes the crushing of life is the very thing that presses out the oil in you, the anointing in you, the greatness in you. You see, strength doesn't come from what you escaped. Strength comes from what you endured. You're not strong because you never fell. You're strong because you fell 1,000 times, and you got back up 1,001. Every scar you carry is proof you survived something that was meant to take you out. Every tear you cried watered the seed of your future harvest. Every heartbreak taught you to love wiser. Every loss taught you to value what remains. So yes, when life breaks you, it hurts. It shatters your pride. It strips you of control. It forces you to face the truth about yourself. But that brokenness is not the end of you. It's the birthing ground of the next version of you. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. They are forged in pressure. Gold is not purified by ease. It is purified by fire. And your destiny will not be birthed in your convenience. It will be birthed in your crushing. So don't despise the breaking. Don't curse the valley. Don't give up in the midnight. Because while you're weeping, something is shifting. While you're hurting, something is healing. While you're breaking, something greater is being born. Life may break you, but it cannot bury you. The fact that you're still here, breathing, standing, listening, means the story is not over. You survived what others didn't. You endured what others couldn't. And you are proof, living, walking proof, that being broken is not the end. It is the beginning of becoming whole. When life breaks you, it doesn't break you in a gentle way. It comes suddenly, like a storm you never saw forming, like thunder striking without a flash of lightning to warn you. One moment, you think you have it all together. The plan seems solid. The foundation feels strong, and then out of nowhere, something happens that shatters the very ground beneath your feet. Life has a way of crushing you in places you thought were safe, taking away the things you thought you could never lose, and pulling apart the pieces you thought would hold forever. And in that moment when life breaks you, it feels like the end. It feels like the whole world is collapsing. It feels like nothing will ever be whole again. There are moments when the breaking happens in silence, when nobody knows the weight you're carrying, when you smile in public but cry behind closed doors, when people see your strength but don't see your scars. Sometimes the most painful breaking is the one nobody else witnesses, when you're left alone with your thoughts, when the midnight hours stretch longer than the daylight, when the battle is not against people, but against your own soul. That is when life presses the hardest, when the breaking feels unbearable, when the pieces of who you were lie scattered all around you, and you don't even know if you can pick them back up. But the truth about being broken is that it is not just destruction, it is transformation. The crushing is not meant to erase you, it is meant to reshape you. Pressure is the birthplace of purpose, and breaking is the tool that exposes what you're truly made of. A seed cannot release its life until it is buried and broken open. Oil cannot flow until the olive is crushed. And your destiny will not emerge until something in you has been pressed to release what was hidden inside. Life does not break you to destroy you. Life breaks you to reveal you. It is in the breaking that you learn strength you never knew you had. You learn to survive without the things you thought were necessary. You discover that you can stand without the crutches you depended on. You realize that losing something you thought you couldn't live without doesn't mean you stop living. The breaking teaches you resilience, it teaches you endurance, it teaches you how to rise again when everything has fallen apart. And though it hurts, though it cuts deep, though it makes you feel like you won't recover, the breaking is also the moment when your true character is forged. Every scar you carry is a testimony that you made it through something that tried to finish you. Every tear that fell was watering the ground for the future you are yet to see. Every setback was a setup for the strength that is now being built in you. When life breaks you, it strips away illusions, it burns away pride, it clears away the false strength you thought you had, and what remains is the pure version of you, the part that is unshakable, the part that is untouchable, the part that cannot be broken again. So even though it feels unbearable, even though the pain is real, even though the weight seems crushing, remember that the breaking is not wasted. It is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you have ever been. The breaking is not the end of you, it is the beginning of the next version of you, the version that was hidden until the crushing came to press it out. And though life breaks you, it cannot destroy the purpose placed within you, because what is inside of you is greater than anything that comes against you. When life breaks you, it takes you through a process you never would have chosen for yourself. Nobody wakes up asking for disappointment, nobody prays for rejection, nobody hopes for betrayal, yet those very things often become the tools that shape us. Life doesn't just test you in the areas you are strong, it breaks you in the areas you never imagined could crack. It's one thing to be hurt by the enemy you expected, but it's another to be broken by the very people you trusted with your heart. It's one thing to face struggles from the outside, but it's another to wrestle with the battles inside of you, the doubts, the insecurities, the voices that tell you you're not enough. That's the kind of breaking that cuts deep because it's not just circumstances that fall apart, it's your very sense of self. There are seasons when the breaking feels unfair. You watch other people rise while you're sinking. You see others celebrate while you're barely surviving. You wonder why your path has to be so heavy, why your story carries so much pain, why it seems like every step forward gets met with resistance. Those moments of breaking can make you feel forgotten, like your prayers don't matter, like your effort is wasted, like your purpose is slipping out of reach. And yet, those are the moments that build the kind of endurance no easy road could ever produce. Because nothing grows in comfort, the soil of greatness is watered by tears, pressed by challenges, and refined in the furnace of pain. When you are broken, you learn things about yourself you never would have discovered in calm waters. You find that you are stronger than you thought. You realize that you can stand after the storm. You learn that survival itself is a victory. Every breath you take in the middle of heartbreak is proof that breaking doesn't equal ending. And the very weight that pressed you down becomes the training ground for your rise. The crushing was never random, it was targeted, because hidden inside you was potential that could not come out in any other way. The pain becomes the midwife that delivers purpose. Think of how a diamond is made. It's nothing more than carbon until pressure transforms it into something priceless. Think of how oil is drawn out of the olive. It's nothing but a fruit until it is crushed and pressed, and only then does it release the oil that carries power. Think of how a seed grows. It has to be buried, it has to break open, and only in that dark place does its true life begin to push through the soil. In the same way, when life breaks you, it is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of the revelation of what was inside of you all along. There is something inside of you that can only come out when you are pressed. There is a strength in you that will never show itself until weakness has exposed you. There is a faith in you that will not rise until everything else has failed. There is a version of you that comfort will never bring out, but pain will. And so the breaking, as painful as it feels, is the very process that unveils your truest identity. You don't discover who you are when life is easy. You discover it when life is hard. You don't discover your resilience in celebration. You discover it in sorrow. You don't discover your endurance on the mountain. You discover it in the valley. And though the breaking feels like a punishment, it is in fact preparation, because what is coming next requires the version of you that only brokenness could bring forth. When life breaks you, it humbles you in ways you never imagined. It strips away the mask you wore to convince the world that everything was fine. It takes away the illusion of control, reminding you that no matter how strong you thought you were, there are moments that bend your knees and force you to cry out from the depths of your soul. Breaking brings you to places where your pride no longer matters, where your accomplishments no longer shield you, where your titles, your possessions, your outward strength cannot protect you from the storm. It reduces you to the rawest version of yourself, and though it feels humiliating, it is in that place of vulnerability that true power begins to grow. There is a depth that can only be reached when the surface has been cracked. There is an authenticity that only comes from walking through pain. People may admire your success, but they connect with your scars. They are drawn not to your perfection, but to your survival. And when life breaks you, it gives you something more valuable than applause. It gives you empathy, it gives you compassion, it gives you the ability to see through the eyes of others who are suffering. Pain breaks the hard shell around your heart and allows you to feel in a way you never did before. The breaking also has a way of redirecting you. Sometimes you were moving toward things that were never meant for you, clinging to relationships that could not carry your future, holding on to positions that were beneath your purpose. Life had to break you to separate you. What you thought was rejection was really redirection. What you thought was the end was simply the turning point. You were comfortable in a place that could not contain your destiny, so the breaking came to shake you loose, to force you out of the familiar, to push you into the unknown where your potential could finally breathe. When you are broken, you discover a resilience that surprises even you. You look back and wonder how you made it through nights that should have crushed you. You remember days when you thought you would never smile again, yet here you are still standing. That is the hidden strength that only breaking can bring. It doesn't show up when everything is going your way. It shows up when you have nothing left but faith. It shows up when every option has been stripped away and you find yourself leaning on something greater than yourself. That strength becomes your testimony, your evidence that no matter how many times you fall, you cannot be destroyed. And while the breaking feels like chaos, it is often the very moment when the foundation is being rebuilt. The old walls had to come down because they were not strong enough to hold the weight of your calling. The old version of you had to be shattered because it could not walk into the future that awaits. The breaking may look like destruction on the outside, but on the inside it is construction. Something is being built, something is being prepared, something is being shaped that will not crumble the way it did before. So when life breaks you, it is not simply about loss, it is about transformation. You are not the same person after the breaking. Your walk changes, your vision sharpens, your priorities shift. You no longer waste time on what doesn't matter because the breaking taught you what does. You no longer lean on fragile things because the breaking taught you what lasts. You no longer fear the storms because the breaking taught you that storms pass and survivors rise. And though the breaking felt like it would destroy you, in reality it was creating in you a strength, a wisdom, and a clarity that could not be formed in ease.